why they called it style. I wanted to ask you something about the name of your. You have a company called Edison House.
Yes.
What? How did you come by? Does that have to do with Thomas Edison, or how did you come up with that name?
Well, it's not a bad thing. I read one time to be associated with a great inventor. I read one time that you should never name your company after yourself. You might want to sell
Might
it.
want to sell it. Yeah.
Uh, there are different things. So, and I lived in a little 2.5 bedroom bungalow on Edison Street when I first started, when I first hung out my shingle. And I lived in Edison House, and I'm like, "Well, Edison was a great inventor. Let's go with that for now." I had an epiphany about 4 or 5 years later because this is when the internet was just keywords were starting to come into the
hmm
lexicon. And I was in front of the room, and so I had this name, Michael Angelo Caruso, and I had a company name, Edison House, and it became too confusing for people. What do I remember? And I thought, well, if I want them to remember anything, I want them to remember my name. So Edison House is kind of like the umbrella company under which I operate, but I don't ask anybody to remember that anymore. If you can remember my name, we're good.
Yeah, that's the one that I like. Said I every time I see it, I say, "Man, that's a cool name," and uh,
Thank you.
and I also know that you're heavily into Rotary. I was in Rotary a long time ago. I just couldn't keep up with the attendance requirements, but it's a
Right.
great organization. You're really in deep, right?
Yeah, they've waived the attendance requirements now. Society has changed quite a bit, and of course, with COVID, everybody's zooming. Um, I just love to give back. I love a systemized way for doing it. And also, not for nothing, my business has grown quite a bit because of all those relationships and all the talks that I've done for Rotary. So it's been a nice hand in glove relationship for me.
Yeah, and you have a podcast too. And I heard this lady that you were interviewing that had climbed 58 mountains in 75 days.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking,
yeah,
I
it's
got enough trouble climbing out of bed in the morning.